My lords, during routine surveillance of the Beta Sen system, Dr. Fowler has identified significant ship and planetary debris in a decaying orbit above the third planet in system, an ocean world. The Doctor and his team also noted the irregularity of the planet's shape. Although it appears to be now habitable, something remarkable must have happened to this world, for it is no longer truly spherical. Although further investigation is needed, it is highly likely an extremely large object once hit this planet, creating the irregularities. Despite the potential catastrophic impact, the planet now appears habitable. Approximately 85% is covered by an ocean. Small ice caps are situated on both polar regions, and most interestingly, the northern polar region appears to house a small single artificial structure. Orbital scans are picking up life signs within the structure. Communication has been attempted, but no responses have been received. The Doctor and his team set about exploration and excavation of the alien structure, and I shall detail his report for you now. Built into the singular floating glacier which occupied the northern polar region of the planet was a large, hulking, black, cuboid structure that appeared to be made out of the same alloy as the wreckage of the destroyed space fleet in orbit of this world. My geological specialist, Dr. Gray, stated that the analysis of the glacier put it in the region of several million Terran years old. Although, according to the Doctor, it was apparently quite hard to tell, partially due to the abnormalities in general with alien atmospheres and the residual readings caused by whatever hit the planet all those years ago. Furthermore, orbital scans of the interior of the structure show a number of biological readings. However, if there are aliens inside the structure, they appear to be quite elusive. They have made no effort to show that they're aware of our presence, if indeed they are aware of it at all. Our shuttle was unable to find a suitable landing site directly next to the structure. As such, we will have to traverse a large frozen cliffside in order to approach what we believe to be the entrance to the building. Given the possibility of first contact with whatever is inside, I intend to use the least disruptive entry method available to me. Knocking would seem appropriate. Within half a day we managed to scale the cliff and reach the entrance to the facility. We have set up a base camp, and already we have discovered something that looks like writing inscribed on the walls of the building. We are beginning the long and arduous process of attempting to open the door without damaging whatever is inside. Meanwhile, the xenolinguistics and my ship's onboard AI are attempting to translate the alien language inscribed across the entrance. Several days have now passed, and we have successfully managed to pry open the entrance to the facility. Unfortunately, less disruptive methods proved unsuccessful, and knocking proved ineffective. We had to resort to our trusty, portable tachyon cutter. We slowly heated the alloy until it became pliable enough to force open. Nevertheless, we are now inside, and as the door disintegrated, we were greeted by a controlled atmosphere very similar to that outside, just with a significant reduction in CO2 concentration. Meanwhile, our xenolinguistics team have proven mostly ineffective. They believe that the name of the alien race who occupied this place were called the Polarians. And whatever this facility was, it was a treasure vault of some sort, built to house their most precious possessions. Despite the biological readings on the scanners, we have still yet to be greeted. After thoroughly exploring the facility, we have an answer for why we have not been greeted. There are no aliens here. It is instead an ancient seed repository. Plant embryos. That was the treasure that the Polarians were hiding away inside their vault. Further translation tell us that these aliens curiously kept filling their atmosphere with too much carbon dioxide. This facility was designed as a potential failsafe should a catastrophe strike, but there was also a growing fear that the slowly changing atmosphere would cause planet species to die and wither at an increasingly alarming rate. Most interestingly, humanity in the early 21st century also established a similar seed vault. A state known back then as Norway built a facility called the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. This facility operated as a secure backup for the world's crop diversity, providing long-term storage of duplicates of seeds conserved in gene banks around the world. Fortunately for humanity, the Norwegian seed bank played a key role in repopulating Earth's flora post Third World War and pre-UNE unification. In any case, back to the Polarians. The Polarians, as we've established with the ship debris in orbit, were a spacefaring empire, and this vault contains records of what happened to them and why the facility is the only structure that remains. It appears that the Polarians lived in several megacities, or hive structures, across their planet. These centralized cities were fed by the rest of the planet, being largely agricultural. We get the sense that the Polarians appeared to be a mostly peaceful and pacifistic species. As far as we know, this was the only planet that they occupied, but they seemed to be content, living out their lives in relative galactic isolation. Which brings us on to why the planet is now slightly misshapen. Planetary survey records found within the vault show that their capital city is precisely where the colossal crater now sits, and it would appear that this was not by coincidence. The Polarians were approached by another empire. This empire appears to be militaristic, barbaric, and authoritarian, based on the descriptions the Polarians left. They refer to this other empire as the Minis. The Minis, it would appear, were significantly more advanced than that of the Polarians, and the Minis demanded subjugation, and they threatened occupation and violence should their demands be met with refusal. It would appear that the Polarians either did not believe the Minis would attack, or were simply happy to take their chances, stand their ground, and fight. They refused the Minis' demands. As we know from our travels, the universe is full of atrocities. However, in what can only be described as a truly violent, terror-inducing, and morally reprehensible act, the Minis did attack, but not conventionally. They swept aside the Polarian System Defense Force, but did not immediately take up orbital bombardment positions above Polarian cities. Instead, they used their vast battleship fleet to deliberately nudge the Polaris moon out of its geosynchronous orbit, sending it directly towards the planet's surface. The target was the Polarians' capital city. The Minis appear to have then deliberately slowed the moon's descent in an intentional effort not to crack the planet into several pieces. They wanted the galaxy to witness and leave evidence of the event, perhaps so other empires would simply fall in line. A truly horrendous method of psychological warfare. The Polarians suffered the double effects of their largest and most productive hive city being completely annihilated, and the resulting debris and dust cloud sent the planet into an ice age, which effectively killed off the rest of them. We find it now, all these years later, poured out into this beautiful ocean world. All that remains of the Polarians is in this facility. Their efforts will of course not be wasted. Having an entire planet's ecology already pre-catalogued and sorted will significantly help our scientists in researching future biological matters. We know nothing more of what happened to the Minis, and perhaps we will see other examples of their cruelty in the future. Thanks for watching, folks. That's quite the way to take out an enemy empire. If you want to hear more Stellaris lore stories, please click the video on screen now.